You ever get that nagging sense that somebody is targeting you over the tiniest, most ridiculous thing? That's exactly how my ordeal began, believe it or not, with a trash can. Sounds absurd, right? Just an ordinary city-issued garbage bin. I never could have guessed that this simple container would become the spark for one of the strangest and most infuriating neighbor battles of my life. But when Karen, yes, that Karen, from down the block decided to make it her personal crusade, to knock mine over every single chance she got, things escalated quicker than I ever imagined. At first, it came out of nowhere. I'd shuffle outside on trash collection day, half asleep, grabbing the morning paper, and there it was. My bin tipped over, trash spilling across the driveway. The first couple of times I blamed the wind, maybe raccoons rummaging for food. But the pattern was way too precise. Week after week, without exception, the can was on its side. And the garbage men, they never left it like that. The real eye-opener came one Tuesday morning. I left for work earlier than usual, coffee still in hand, and as I turned onto my street, I spotted her. Karen, the self-proclaimed sheriff of our HOA, strutting along with her tiny yapping dog. She paused near my driveway, glanced around like she was checking for witnesses, and with one quick shove of her foot, sent my trash can rolling right into the road. Then she just kept walking, head high, like nothing had happened. I couldn't believe it. Who does that? My first instinct was to slam the brakes, jump out, and call her out right then and there. But I stopped myself. If there's one thing I've learned about people like Karen, it's that you can't let anger steer the wheel. You need proof, and you need a strategy. That night, I sat at my kitchen table fuming. Her smug little face replayed in my mind like a broken record. Sure, I could confront her directly, but Karen had a reputation. She was infamous in the neighborhood for twisting stories, crying victim, and turning everyone else into the villain. I knew exactly how that would end. No, I needed a better approach. Solid evidence. Something that would leave her with no excuses. So I came up with a plan. Not a physical trap at first, but something clever. Something that would flip her petty little game right back on her. If she wanted to keep messing with my bin, fine. I'd make sure the whole neighborhood saw her true colors. Step one was simple. Catch her in the act. The very next morning, I made a beeline to the hardware store. My cart looked like I was prepping for a covert operation. Motion-activated camera, fresh batteries, and a high-capacity memory card. If Karen wanted to keep playing games, I was going to record every single move. Back home, I carefully tucked the camera into the bushes near my driveway, perfectly angled at the trash can. Small, hidden, practically invisible unless you were really searching for it. Setting it up felt like I was a detective about to bust a suspect. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had the upper hand. When trash day rolled around again, I got up early, poured a strong cup of coffee, and parked myself by the window with a perfect view of the street. My pulse was pounding like I was waiting for a live show to begin, and sure enough, right on schedule, there she was. Karen strutted down the sidewalk, leash in hand, her little dog dragging her forward. She scanned the street, making sure no one was watching. Then, there it was. One swift kick, and my trash can was on its side again, garbage scattering across the driveway. My blood boiled, but instead of running outside, I just smiled. Because this time, the camera had it all. Later that night, I popped the memory card into my laptop, and there it was, clear as day. Karen, bold as ever, pushing my trash can like she owned the place. No shame, no hesitation. In fact, she almost looked proud of herself. I actually laughed out loud. After weeks of frustration, I finally had her, caught red-handed. But here's the twist. I didn't just want to show the footage to the HOA or even the cops. No, that felt too easy. I wanted to teach her a lesson she'd never forget. Something so perfect that every time she walked by my house, she'd think twice before pulling another stunt. And that's when the light bulb went off. The best traps aren't just about evidence, they're about flipping the script, making the culprit face their own behavior in a way they can't wriggle out of. So I sketched out a plan. Bold, maybe a little risky, but if it worked, it would be pure poetic justice. My trash can wasn't going to be her victim anymore. It was about to become the centerpiece of a neighborhood showdown. And when trash day came again, Karen walked right into it, without the slightest clue what was waiting for her. The night before trash pickup, I set my plan in motion. I rolled my bin out to the driveway like always, but this time, it wasn't just holding trash. It was a trap. Right at the top of the garbage bags, I placed a small sack of flour. Then, I rigged the lid so the slightest nudge would make it tip forward, unleashing the flour like a cloud bomb. Totally harmless, but guaranteed to cause a spectacular mess. After tweaking the setup, I angled the hidden camera perfectly. I wanted the entire scene recorded, the exact second Karma decided to pay Karen a visit. Satisfied, I went inside, barely able to sleep from the excitement. Morning arrived, and I took my usual post by the window, steaming cup of coffee in hand, eyes locked on the driveway. The neighborhood was calm. Birds chirped, sprinklers ticked, the sun rising lazily over the roofs. Then, right on cue, Karen appeared. Her little dog pranced along happily, blissfully unaware of what was about to happen. She stopped at the edge of my property, scanning up and down the street like a burglar casing a house. Then came her trademark. "Move!" She shoved the bin with her foot. The lid snapped forward, and poof! A giant burst of flour exploded into the air, covering her from head to toe. She let out a scream that echoed through the cul-de-sac as she stumbled backward, coughing, flailing her arms and smearing white powder all over herself. Her poor dog barked like mad, tugging at the leash, while Karen stood there looking like some ghostly figure straight out of a bad Halloween movie. I had to slap my own hand over my mouth to stop from laughing loud enough to give myself away. And the camera? It caught everything. Every frantic movement, every stomp of her flour-caked shoes, every furious glare. It was comedy gold. She spun around, glaring directly at my house with eyes blazing. She knew deep down I had orchestrated it, but she couldn't prove a thing. After all, it was just my trash can, sitting innocently on my own driveway. Fuming, she stomped away in a storm of powder, dragging her barking dog behind her. It was like a scene straight out of slapstick theater. That night, I replayed the footage again and again, laughing until my stomach hurt. The once untouchable HOA queen had been reduced to a dusty, disheveled mess for the entire street to see. And the cherry on top? She had no clue I had it all on video. Still, I knew Karen's pride wouldn't let this go. She wasn't the type to lick her wounds quietly. And sure enough, a few days later, she came back swinging. For a while after the flour bomb, she kept her head down. I figured she was too embarrassed to strut around like usual. But just as I started to think it was over, I heard a knock at my door one Saturday. I opened it to find Karen standing there, arms crossed, lips pursed, still smoldering with fury. "You think you're so clever, don't you?" she spat, launching straight into a tirade. "Setting traps humiliating. Me in front of the neighborhood! I'm reporting you to the HOA for harassment!" I leaned casually against the doorframe and let her rant. She threw accusation after accusation, claiming I endangered her dog, weaponized household items, even caused emotional distress. Honestly, I almost admired her creativity. But when she demanded I pay her cleaning bill, I nearly burst out laughing. "Karen," I said calmly, locking eyes with her, "do you really want to go down this road? Because I've got footage. Weeks of it. Footage of you knocking over my trash can again and again." For the first time, her mask cracked. Her eyes widened, and that smug little smirk melted away. She stammered, trying to walk it back, muttering something about accidents and misunderstandings. But it was too late. The truth was out, and she knew I had her cornered, and I didn't stop there. The very next day, I emailed the HOA board the video evidence. Clear, undeniable proof. Karen treating my trash can like her personal punching bag. Along with the footage, I attached a short note. If Karen continues harassing me, I'll be sending this to the entire neighborhood. The response was almost immediate. The HOA president called me personally, apologizing for her antics and assuring me it would be dealt with. And dealt with it was. Word spread fast. By the end of the week, Karen couldn't step outside without neighbors whispering behind her back and shooting her dirty looks. From that point on, she never touched my trash can again. In fact, she avoided my side of the street altogether, like my driveway was cursed. My bin stood tall and untouched every week, a quiet monument to the day Karen finally got what she deserved. Looking back, it's wild to think about how all this chaos started over something as simple as a garbage can. But that's the funny thing about life. Sometimes the smallest fights teach the biggest lessons. You don't let bullies walk all over you, not even in the pettiest ways. And if you're smart, sometimes you can turn the tables so perfectly that your enemy ends up stumbling into their own downfall. And as for Karen, let's just say she never saw it coming. That's how my showdown with Karen and the trash can saga came to an end. If you enjoyed this story and want more outrageous HOA battles and neighborhood dramas, make sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment below. What would you have done if Karen tried this on you? Your support is what keeps these stories rolling.